Well, section play in high school basketball at WPIAL is now about half complete. And we're going to talk about basketball, but some pretty big news on the football coaching front in the WPIAL. Welcome to another edition of the Varsity Extra podcast here in the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube channel. I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette, along with high school sports coordinator Keith Barnes. Keith Good News Barnes, opposed to Marvin Bad News Barnes in the NBA years ago. So here we go. We're going to start off the podcast, and we're going to talk pretty much, we were planning to talk all basketball, and we will. We'll give our predictions and shining stars and what we're talking about. But the first segment, talking about hot subjects, and it is a hot subject this morning, Tuesday morning, on the WPL football coaching front. I had the story, pretty big news. North Hills High School will name a new football coach Thursday night, and it is expected to be, he has agreed to the job, he has, that I've learned, Eric Kasperowicz, coming back to his alma mater. The former Pine Richland coach, has been at Mars the past 4 years. The school board is on the docket. They will hire a new coach, and Eric Kasperowicz will be the recommended candidate. Now, Keith, I don't know about you, but I think this is pretty gigantic news. I mean, the guy won 4 WPL titles at Pine Richland and 2 state titles before he was ousted for a mess. I go back to that. That was one of them, an atrocity, what they did, and got rid of him. But that's another, that's over with. And he went to Mars. He went to Pitt as a volunteer assistant for a year, and he went to Mars. Now, Eric has no comment on it, but I've learned that they will make the hire as a mere formality on Thursday night. What do you think? It's pretty big news, isn't it? What does this do for North Hills?
I think it's a huge hire. I think it's one of the biggest hires in the WPL in a while, especially with his history with North Hills. I mean, it was such a great player for the Indians back in the day. Was he on that? I think he was on that 93 team that won the state title.
State.
Yes. Freshman year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Went to Pitt, played there, and he's just been an outstanding coach at the high school level ever since he got into it. And for North Hills, for a program that's kind of been struggling to find an identity, to go to a throwback and go to the past and pull out one of the brightest stars that ever played for the program, that bodes well for what this organization can do. Now, if North Hills can play on his name and maybe get a little bit more interest in the program, get more players out, then all of a sudden you're talking about a huge competition factor for North Hills being able to compete in Class 5A. And we know how tough Class 5A is. Let's be honest about it. But they don't play in the toughest section. So at that point in time, maybe he can do a quick turnaround, maybe get this team into not only playoff contention, but maybe conference title contention.
Well, I will tell you first off, I'm going to give a shout out to their old coach, Pat Carey, who took this past year off because of a health condition and decided recently only not come back. He's done with coaching. Pat's a former player at North Hills too, was on the 87 national championship team. And no, he never won championships, but he bleeds red and white. And, he didn't win a playoff game, but they had some decent years. And he's North Hills through and through. And I'm sure this is hard on him. And I would just like to give a shout out to him first off. A good guy, great guy, and was great for North Hills athletics. And I'm sure it's hard on him not being able to coach anymore. But Eric comes, and I think it's, he's going to breathe some life into that program. One of the things he always did, though, at Pine Richland, and one of the things, Pat Carey, sometimes, he won, but he didn't win big. Well, you know what? They didn't have big-time players either. Sometimes talent has something to do with it. And North Hills is not like they were in the 80s and 90s and partially in the 2000s. But one thing Eric Kasperowicz has done that North Hills never had in the recent years and under Pat Carey was they never had a top-notch quarterback. And he always had one at Pine Richland almost every year. from Phil Jerkovic to Cole Spencer. He developed them. They would pick them out in 7th and 8th grade, say, this guy and this guy are the ones. And hey, at any level, quarterback is big. And I think that's going to be one of the keys for success at North Hills is for Eric Kasperowicz to develop a quarterback. That's a top-notch quarterback. But it's a big hire. I think it's one of the bigger hires, and I should say one of the biggest moves in the WPIAL football, probably in the last 10, 12 years at least. Pretty big news. So
I think the other thing about that is it's going to be interesting, him being in this, depending on what happens with the reclassifications this year, he could be in a class, he could be in the conference with Pine Richland. And that'll be very interesting to see if he ends up going to Pine Richland as a visiting coach, because I think there's going to be a little bit of bad blood there, and that could fuel some of these kids, and that might light a fire under them. But I think
I don't think there's bad blood between Eric and the people, the coaches at Pine Richland now.
No, I don't think so either. I think he and John
with the administration.
Well.
But there's something to think about. And I talked to Vince Sortino. One of the things that the WPL Football Committee is considering with their format, their new format, their realignment, is making the conferences smaller, with maybe in 5A, instead of 3 conferences with maybe 7 teams, making them smaller, maybe 4 or 5 team conferences, so that those teams that aren't real competitive, they can play more non-conference games against teams that are more on their level on the competitive side. That is one of the things they are considering, and I think it definitely might happen. So you're going to see definitely change in landscape, and you're going to see some of those teams that are independents, Keith. I've talked to some ADs and coaches. Some of them are coming back.
I agree. I talked to
I don't know if Butler will come back, because I don't know if they really want to play 6A football.
No, but I think Albert Gallatin, I think Uniontown, those are 2 teams.
Already told me. Bronzeville already told me they're coming back.
Yeah.
Albert Gallatin
And Uniontown told me they were pretty close.
Probably. I've been in touch with them the last week or so. So there's going to be some changes on the.
Well, what should be interesting also is the other part about this. With Eric leaving, you're going to end up with a hole in Mars, and that's a pretty plum job to take as well. I mean, you're in 4A. There's only going to be 12 teams in 4A next year, and you got a pretty good group coming back. So, this could be a really interesting. This could be a really interesting hire to see who takes that job.
Yeah. And incidentally, it is not final until Thursday night when the North Hills School Board meets. So let's move on to some basketball talk. All right, Keith, you.
Let's talk a little bit of basketball, and we'll talk about something that I saw on Friday night, and that was, I went out to North Catholic, and I saw Knoch in North Catholic play, and that was a tremendous game. And Joe Lafko, the job that he's done as a first-year coach, and granted, this is. Joe's a legend. I mean, he's been around for a long time, Coach Hampton for a really long time, took that year off. He's got these kids in just a few months bought into his entire plan. He's got them. They're probably going to be the number 1 ranked team of the Post-Gazette coming up this week. They came up with a 65-56 win against North Catholic, and they just seem to have an it factor. And it comes from Joe Lafko and his coaching style and what he's been able to do there. I talked to some players after the game. I talked to Tegan Finnegan after the game, and he says he just loves playing for the guy. He really does. He thinks he knows exactly what he's doing. He's bought into it. He had a great game the other night. He had 25 points in that game. And it's just, you can just have this feel for what these players believe. And I mean, they gave him a Gatorade bath after beating North Catholic in a regular season game. Yeah, he went to the locker room and they gave him the Gatorade bath in the locker room after the game. He comes out completely soaked, and it was just awesome to see. He's like, yeah, they doused me, and I talked to T, and he's like, yeah, we absolutely did. He said he deserved it. He's done a great. He's our guy, and they absolutely love playing for him.
He's no average Joe Lafko.
He is not.
I think he deserves a shout out, and I think it is absolutely tremendous to see a guy who's been around for a long time. And he resigned at Hampton after winning over 500 games. Been around a long time, but you know what? Came out of, I guess you could say it was retirement, and thought he still wasn't done. He's retired as a teacher. And I think it's great for someone that has been around for that long and that age, come out and still prove that he can coach and do some things. And I think it's really interesting because, Keith, North Hills, I help coach here. We played them in a summer or fall league game. And I don't know if he had all his players, but Andrew Lang was hurt. And they lost Jackson Obama, transferred to Moon. They had a 7-footer last year that didn't come back. He's going to concentrate on baseball because he's going to Central Michigan, Zane Pesek. But I talked to Joe and got the feeling he was worried that they were not going to maybe be all that hot. And here they are. They went out and played with Newcastle for a little bit. And here they are. It's kind of his style of a team. They got some big, strong kids. They play some zone. I think it was two totally different styles against North Catholic. North Catholic just get up and down, and Knoch isn't that way, and their style went out. But I just think it's great to see a guy like Joe Lafko, who's been around for so long, gets out of it, comes back because he still likes it, still likes kids, and is really doing a great job. Great job by you, Joe Lafko.
Well, that's the one thing you kind of brought up was the strength of that team, because Jim Rocco brought that up to me too. And he said, these kids are just big. They were in the weight room and they are physically, and they will impose their will. And the other thing that I thought was really great about watching Knoch play was how they didn't take the bait from North Catholic. Because when you play North Catholic, I mean, you've got Jude Rotman, you've got Frederick out there, and these guys are going to sit there and they're going to bang their threes. And you sit there and bang 3 threes, all of a sudden you're on a 9-0 run. A lot of teams come down, and what they do, they come down as fast as they can. They try to hit a 3, miss, rebound, kick it back out, and all of a sudden you're looking at a 15-3 run or something like that. And that's how North Catholic beats you. This team, what Knoch did and what Joe has taught this team to do, you say, okay, they're going to get their 3-pointers. When they do, come back out, play our offense, and play in the half court. They don't play a delay, but they work the ball and they get their shot. And if you can have that kind of patience and not fall into the trap of trying to chase those 3-pointers with North Catholic, that's how you're going to beat them. And that's exactly what they did on Friday night. It was a masterclass of how to beat that team.
All right. So kudos to you, Joe Lafko. Hey, next subject on just we're talking about last one before we get on to our shining stars. The Mohawk Warriors, yay or nay, Keith? Do they have enough to win their first WPIAL title since 1970? They just beat Aliquippa last week. They're our number 1 ranked team. What do you think? Could this be a WPL championship team?
Yes, but let's put this with a caveat. Class 3A is not all that strong.
I agree.
And let's look at it from this way. Yeah, they beat Aliquippa, okay? Then you've got Keystone Oaks, which has a lot of holes in its game. South Park, I watched. They're hit and miss. They do have the big guy in the middle, but they're kind of one of those teams. They have their off nights too. Seton LaSalle, this is the thing about Seton LaSalle. They will come out and they will attack you and they will go up on you 15, 20 points. And then you watch in the mid-third quarter, all of a sudden it goes like this, and they give up points and they lose games late. They didn't do that against South Allegheny, but nearly did. And then you got South Allegheny, which is the defending champions. And if they can ever put it all together, they're a team that can win it all. So I think there's really 6 teams, 6 or 8, even maybe be a couple more teams out there that can challenge the 6A or in 3A. But if you want to say, is Mohawk the definitive number 1? Right now, yeah, but you still have half the regular season to play.
Well, I think they're good enough definitely to win it for the first time since 1970. And when we ranked them number 1 at the beginning of the year, some people were, what are you talking about, Mohawk number 1? Yeah, because here's one of the reasons why. They got a lot of people back, and they've got Bobby Fadden and Drew Rona, one of the best 1-2 punches around at the guard spots. Bobby Fadden's going to get 2,000 points this week. Drew Rona is very good. And 2 good guards in 3A, they can go a long, long way. Mike O'Lear, remember, he came over from the girls where he did a great job. And I think they're good enough, and they proved it by beating Aliquippa. Now, will they definitely win it? I'm not saying that, but they're definitely good enough to win this thing. And it's nice to see a team like that hasn't had the success and championships for a long, long time. I remember watching them in 1970 on Channel 13 with Bill Cardillo. I remember watching him at Civic Arena. I do remember it. So,
I don't remember anything from 1970.
What's
I
that?
don't remember anything. I don't remember anything from 1970.
I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't expect you would. All right, let's move on.
Well, okay, let's talk about our shining stars this week. And Mike, you can go first with this one. Who is your shining star? Who's caught your eye?
Cooper, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the last name. Cooper Hawkendoner from South Park High School. Now, you might know him mostly as a baseball player. I mean, if anybody follows high school sports in WPIAL, he was on our Post-Gazette all-area baseball team last year. He was tremendous. He led them to the state playoffs and far in the WPIAL playoffs. He was 11-1 with a 0.80 ERA. Led the WPIAL in strikeouts. Keith, he had 155 and 86 in the third innings. Now, here he is in basketball. South Park's a top 5 team, and everybody talks about Luke Scarf, big Luke, big Colehand Luke, and rightly so. He's a big guy for South Park. But Cooper Hawkendoner, last week against South Allegheny, 20 points in an overtime win over the defending champ. And last Tuesday, 21 points against Steel Valley. Scarf is a little over 20 points a game. Hawkendoner is at 19.5 now. One of the best 1-2 punches, and you probably think of him only as a baseball player, but he can hoop too. And he's going to Slippery Rock for baseball. Cooper, you're my shining star.
Mine is I'm going to pick one out of Mike's backyard. I'm going to go with Nathan Schombacher, the junior from North Hills. You know, you look at his numbers from this year, and last year he averaged 18 points a game. He was one of the top scorers in the WPL. Wasn't the top scorer in North Hills last year, but this year averaging over 26 a game. Last week against North Allegheny in their 77-65 win, he had 28 against NA. He's just been consistently good all year. He's putting the ball in the hoop.
Except yesterday.
Well, I was watching the girls yesterday. Give me a break. I went to the Sarah Gavel game yesterday. I didn't get to watch the North Hills review from last night. Okay, but you know he's having a pretty good year, all things considered. So that's my shining star.
Some pretty good achievements and milestones for him. Okay, that's your shining star. All right, next segment. Let's predict. Prediction time.
Let's predict. We'll start off with some Tuesday night games.
Wait, how did we do last week?
How did we do last week? Well, I think I won.
You won by 1. I was 5-6. That's horrible. You were 6-5.
Yeah, you're a basketball coach. You should do better than me.
I should. You're right. That's horrible. Hey, I admit it. That's horrible. 5-6. All right, let's go. Let's start off Tuesday night. Who's first?
Mount Lebanon at Upper St. Clair, and this should be a dandy. Mount Lebanon is always tough to play, and these two teams don't like each other. But you know, when you look at Upper St. Clair, there's a reason why they're the number 1 team or number 2 team out there. They're the number 1 team in their section at least.
No. Central Catholic's number 1.
Central Catholic. I like Upper St. Clair in this one. I just do. I like them at home.
I'm going to take them because they are at home, but here's the key to the game, how well Mount Lebanon shoots the ball. And I'm telling you right now, Liam Shealy and Carter Gold are as hot as fried grease from the three-point line. Shealy has 53 three-pointers for the year. Gold has 43, and they make between them 7 to 8 three-pointers a game on average. If they shoot the ball well, and if Upper St. Clair lets them open enough, Mount Lebanon wins this game. But I think Upper St. Clair will do enough defensively, and Ryan Robbins could be a key also.
That's where I was going with Ryan Robbins.
Will he be a force inside that Mount Lebanon has trouble with? And he doesn't always hurt you with scoring. He passes the ball. He's a very good passer, but he's a legitimate post guy. He's like 6'7", 270, Division I football prospect, but he's very good in basketball.
Yes, he is.
I'm taking Upper St. Clair at home. All right, next one. I'll introduce this one. Central Valley at Quaker Valley, a big section game here in 4A. Central Valley 10-2, 3-1 in section. At Quaker Valley 9-3, 4-0 in section. Central Valley stubbed their toe last week.
Yes, they did.
Section game, and Quaker Valley in that little gym down there. I think they have just enough to pull out a win.
I agree with you. I like Quaker Valley at home. That you're right. That little bandbox they have down there is just that's a nice little home court advantage. It really is. And it's tough for teams to come in there. And when you got that place packed and the fans are almost right on top of you, and you're watching, you got people watching the crow's nest on top. That's a fun place to watch a game. It really is. But I like the Quakers in that one.
All right.
Next one up, Elizabeth Ford at Derry. And who'd have thought we'd be talking about Derry this time of the year? But here we are. Derry's having a pretty good year.
Elizabeth Ford is 8-4 and 5-0 in section. Derry's 8-6 and 3-2. Keith, Elizabeth Ford has won a total of one section title in school history. One. Guess what?
When was that?
It was a while ago. It was in the early 2000s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? I think they might win a second one this year, and I think they win this game. I think they win this game at Derry. With Tyler Basic, I'm just giving you the basics about him. He can score.
Yeah, he can.
He will lead EF to victory.
He is basically their team. I agree with you. I'm going with the Warriors in this one as well. Next one up is a game I'm going to be at tonight, and that is Clairton. Undefeated Clairton at 8-0 and 6-0 in the conference. They're going to take on defending Class 2A champion Jeanette, which has one loss this season. They're 11-1, 6-0 in the section. Their only loss, I believe, is to a team from outside the state. And wow, what a matchup. And these two teams do not like each other. This is all carryover from football. They have not liked each other for a long time. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere in the Jayhawks gym tonight. So
who are you taking?
For me, I'm picking Jeanette. I got to go with Adrian Batts and Jeanette. I really do. For some reason, I just have a feeling that this team, when they went at home in that crowd, it's a great atmosphere to watch a game. It really is.
I'm going Jeanette also. I think they're an underrated team. Everybody talks about Sewickley and 2A, rightly so. But Jeanette's a defending champion, beat Sewickley last year. Difference in this game will be Marcus McGowan. Marcus McGowan, the big guy inside, double M, do your stuff. You beat the Clairton Bears. All right, next game. Chartiers Houston. Who would think we have this on big games? Char Houston at Jefferson Morgan. Jefferson Morgan's 12-0. 12-0. They've never done anything in basketball. And they might win a section this year. They're 6-0 in section. And Char Houston is also 6-0 in section. So who's going to be in first place after tonight, Keith Barnes?
The Buccaneers.
Oh.
I said, when we talked about this last week, when we talked about undefeated teams, the team that I looked at the most at the potential to beat Jeff Morgan was Char Houston. And I think Char Houston has enough. I think they're going to go on the road, and I think they're going to win this game.
I'm going opposite of you. The Rockets' red glare. The Jefferson Morgan Rockets will win this game. I like their defense. I know they haven't played really anybody.
See, that's my problem, too. They haven't played anybody.
Yeah, they only give up 39, 40 points a game, and I don't think they'll hold Char Houston to that, but I think Jeff Morgan wins and stays undefeated. All right, let's move on. Friday, first game Friday, Upper St. Clair back in it again. They play Central Catholic. First time they played, Central Catholic wins at home. Do they win on the road for the second time?
No. I like Central in this game. I do. I like what I've seen.
I said, do they win on the road?
Oh, that's right. My mistake. I like Central in this game. I do. Central's just. I think they've got that it factor. They might be just that team that I'd like to see them against Newcastle. I really do. I would like to see what they would do. But I mean, we know Newcastle's head and shoulders above everybody else in 6A this year. But Central Catholic's pretty good. So I'm going with Central Catholic over Upper St. Clair this time around.
Newcastle is very good, but I would not say they're head and shoulders above everyone, Keith, because they are not head and shoulders above Central Catholic. I know one very well-known coach who's been around for a while who thinks Central Catholic is right now the best team in 6A.
That's a very real possibility.
It is. And they're playing great defense. Enzo Khalil's playing really well. I'm going Central Catholic on the road. If they,
Enzo Khalil impressed me, by the way. He's really impressed me.
Is Central's defense and how well Upper St. Clair shoots a ball from 3-point range. I think that's a big key in this game. All right, next one. Indiana at Penn Hills, big section game in 5A. Indiana's 9-4, 3-2 at Penn Hills, 7-5, 4-1. I'll go first on this one. Penn Hills, if they shoot the ball well, and they've had some horrible night shooting, they're pretty good. And Indiana has the big Webb kid inside, but the Webb brothers. But I'm going Penn Hills on this one. I think their defense will do enough. I think Penn Hills wins this game.
I like, I saw Penn Hills against Central Catholic, and they were with Central Catholic a little bit, but they played in fits and spurts in that game. And if they can put it all together, they're a really good team, and they're extremely sneaky good. So I like Penn Hills too.
You said they play in fits and spurts?
Fits and spurts.
Did you mean bits and spurts?
Ha ha ha! Nice.
Fits and spurts.
Fits and spurts. Yes, that's the old phrase. It's the old term, fits and spurts.
Bits and spurts.
No.
Either way, heard fits and spurts.
I'll have to look it up.
All right. So who are you going with? Who are you going with?
I'm going with Penn Hills.
All right. So am I. All right. Let's move on. Let's have a fit and move on to something else here. Peters Township at Thomas Jefferson. Who do you like?
I like TJ. I like what Dom's been doing with this team, and I think he has them just playing just at such a good level right now. And they've got some good talent. They're playing well. They're at home. I just think it all flows for the Jaguars right now.
I'm going Jaguars also of Thomas Jefferson. By the way, Peters Township 3-1 and Thomas Jefferson 5-0 in section. TJ won on a last-second shot earlier this year at Peters Township. I don't think it'll come down to the end this time. I like TJ. All right, next one. 2 more to go. Neshannock at Olsh on Friday night. Neshannock 8-2, 6-0. Olsh 9-4 and 4-1. David Quat, he will slay the Olsh Chargers. Neshannock gets a win on the road and stays undefeated in section.
Quat. Gotta love Quat. Lancers all the way.
Quad has
Lancers over Chargers. Lancers and Chargers. That's actually kind of fun if you think about two teams on horseback. But anyway,
I know they should play like polo or something.
They should joust each other. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good. Jousting. All right, last game, really good. Saturday night, a non-section game. Lincoln Park, number 2 and 5A at Newcastle, number 1 and 6A. Now, Josh Pratt is still out. Or he was out, so I don't know the status of him. And it would be good if we did know the status of him. If he doesn't play, we're not winning. And even if he does play, I'm taking Newcastle.
If he plays, I take Lincoln Park. If he doesn't, they don't have enough to keep up with Newcastle. I'm going with Newcastle because you can't go with an if and a maybe if you're going to make the pick. So I'm going with Newcastle.
All right. There's our predictions. What's next, Keith? Fantasy.
Our fantasy league again. Guess who won that? It wasn't me. Mike's a better fantasy player than I am when it comes to fantasy in high school. You
were hurt by Julian Semplis, and I said when you picked him at Char Valley, they're a balanced team, Keith.
I know.
He only scored 13 points. That was the difference. And you also had Tyler Basic from Elizabeth Forward. No, I had Tyler Basic. You had
Emma Larkin.
Basic scored 21. And then you had Emma Larkin from Geibel. She scored 21. But I took Isabel, ring the bell for Isabel Shapiro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She's from Riverview. She scored 22. So I win 43-34. We pick one boy, one girl every week, and we just do one game of points on either Thursday or Friday night. So let's go to this week. Who's going first? Let's do girls first.
I think girls first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Erica Gribble of Greensboro Central Catholic. They're playing Steel Valley on Friday night, and she just got her 2,000 point.
Yeah,
I got to give her a shout. She got her 2,000 point this past on Monday night. So yeah, give her a shout, and she's my pick.
I think she's the 45th player in WPIAL history to score 2,000 career points. I'm going because we started over. I'm going with leading scorer in WPIAL, Mimi Thero. Who does, I mean, Keith, she might have to be the player of the year in the state of Pennsylvania. She keeps doing
She might very well be.
I mean, over 30 points a game, or 14, 15 rebounds, shooting like 45% from three from a 6'5".
Yeah.
Mimi Thero, they played Beaver Falls, who is not bad, which means she'll play the whole game. And she will score, no doubt. All right, boys, who's going first?
You get to go. You get to go with the boys.
I'm going to go with, I'm going Luke Scarf. Mentioned Cooper Hockendoner. I'm going Luke Scarf, the big guy from South Park, the all-time leading scorer at South Park. I don't know who they play, but Cool Hand Luke will score a lot of points.
I'm going with Jason Frederick from North Catholic.
Oh, I really like Jason.
I do too. And I watched him the other night. I mean, he was in foul trouble for most of the second. Didn't play most of the second quarter. Still scored more than 20. Still scored over 20. I think 24, 25 points against a really tough Knoch defense. They've got Deer Lakes coming up on Friday night, so I'm thinking he's gonna have a nice game this weekend.
He's been shooting really well.
He has been. It's really fun watching North Catholic in the warm-ups. You ever see that scene from the old movie Pleasantville where you get all the basketball players and all the balls are going right in the hoop? That's That's North Catholic in warm-ups. All from three-pointers, and they're all just sinking. It's fun to watch them in the warm-ups. It really is.
Okay. All right. So that's it.
That's it. That is our Varsity Extra podcast for this week. We'd like to thank the Post-Gazette for sponsoring it, and follow us on Apple, on Spotify. Download the podcast. You can listen to it anytime you want. And for Mike White, I'm Post-Gazette High School Sports Coordinator Keith Barnes. Until next time, take care. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.